as simple as they are creating complex systems that even a little actions and thoughts can grow into amazing things, sort of like compound interest of one's thoughts. February's theme is radical interconnection. We often emphasize the science in Science of Mind, but life itself is just as much an art as it is a science. With every breath, we are creating, never in isolation, but in harmony with all living beings, past and present. Each moment we weave and are woven into a vast interconnected tapestry of existence. As conscious creators, we are called to actively shape and transform the world around us. Imagine a moment where every breath you take invites you to release what no longer serves you, a moment where the old gives way to the possibility of a fresh, vibrant way of coming together. Let's explore the very transformation through April Johnston-Ulrich's compelling talk, Letting Go, A New Way of Being. Please help me welcome April.
Keep it going. I'm not there yet. Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, how many of you knew there was a big hockey game on Saturday night? How many knew I was going to bring it up? So, can everybody hear me on Zoom? I just want to check in. Good, wonderful. I got a thumbs up from Ardell. Everybody want to say hi to everybody on online?
Hi, Zoom. Hi.
There's a big smiling crowd here. So, the hockey game. So it wasn't so much the hockey game I want to discuss as my spiritual journey to Saturday night, which was such a learning curve for me. The reason being was I'm teaching the class, The Mystical Path, in which we learn that we're all one, that there's a bigger picture, and that we have to see the divinity in everyone. And I was having a tough time Friday seeing the divinity in the American team. Or in anyone cheering for it. And I knew this wasn't right, so I was doing lots of prayer. I was talking, mentioned to Audrey, I'm really working on this. I think I'm getting to a place where if Canada loses, I'll be okay. I'll be fine. I won't be really angry. So that morning I went home, or the Saturday morning I heard the words from the politician down south who said that he was going to enjoy when America beats the 51st state. Felt all those feelings, came rushing back, all my prayer went out the window. I was not feeling unified or that there were no borders or any of that. I was like hopping mad and we've got to win this game. And it became a bigger deal. And then it was everywhere. It was on my Instagram feed. It was on the TV. Everything was reinforcing this whole thing with me that I was not unified. I was not seeing the divinity in the Tkachuk brothers. And it was funny because I thought, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm supposed to be better than this. I'm supposed to be able to get to that place, right? And I have a comedian that I absolutely love named John Mulaney. And he sort of described what I was feeling and why I was having the issue with it. And as he said, what's happening now is like there's a horse loose in a hospital. Now just think about that. Equate that to what's happening in their politics. It is like a horse is loose in a hospital. Now, can you imagine that, what that would be like? I mean, it's not good. Like people said, oh, well, I've seen a bird in Rona. No, this is not a bird in a hardware store. This is a horse in a hospital. Nobody can stop it. Nobody knows where it's going. So what do you start doing? You're nervous, you want to take control of the situation, you want to find out where it's going. So you're going to be checking on social media with other people in the hospital of where the horse is. What's the horse saying? Then if the horse goes quiet, if you're not getting any feeds, then you go looking other places to make sure that the horse doesn't surprise you. It's when it goes quiet that things get very upsetting. So you're off kilter, right? Your brain is out there looking for anything bad that can happen because there's a horse loose in the hospital. Like, this is not a good situation. Things can happen. Things can break. People can get hurt. But what do we do in those situations, right? You hope that the horse wrangler shows up and when the horse does no real damage before it's taken back to its farm and put out on the golf course. So I love this because this was what I was feeling. It was like, does no one get that there is a horse in a hospital right now? And there are people there, and there are people being hurt, and there's things happening, and I'm supposed to sit and empty my mind and enter into mindfulness, and then that's fine. I'm going to see the divinity in the horse and relate to it. Yeah, that's our work. That's why we never say this is an easy situation, because we know it's not. And we know that getting there is not the point of it. It's not some destination on a spiritual journey we're going for. It's the practice. It's the falling down, getting up, and doing it again. One thing I always loved about people that had real tragedies in their life is I always say, this is the opportunity to see who you are. Are you the one that lays down there and says, oh, this always happens to me or by me? Or are you the one that gets up on your feet and creates the story that everybody loves? Canada lost the first game. It was almost made better by winning the second that we lost the first. It was a comeback story, right? It was something that we could get behind and understand. And there's so many people out there that are having these moments of falling down. And when we can show them that we've been there and we got up, then we all get that connectedness, right? Right? It's not the one-up stories I'm talking about. It's when you sit with someone out of complete compassion because you know what they're feeling. You know that heartbreak of saying goodbye to a parent 1 o'clock in the morning in a quiet room. You know the heartbreak of a husband or a wife walking out the door. You know the feelings of a loss of a child or the loss of a job or an unmet dream, right? We've been there and we've all gotten up. Everyone here has gotten up from such an event and moved on. And the whole thing of going through those sufferings, those moments, those heartache, is we can be compassionate and understand that we've all been through them. We can look in the eyes of each other and go, yeah, I'm your mirror. Me too. I know what you're feeling. Let me just listen. Let me just be here for you. And in that quietness, not offering advice, not offering a one-up situation, not offering any of those things, just to sit and be mindful and to be that space for that person to say what they need to say and to share what they're feeling, because the wisdom that they will receive is not from us, it's from the space, because this is filled with presence. This is filled with the universe, the spirit, the source. And the source will give them the answers. The source will be that place of recovery and motivation to get up off the floor. And when we do this, the divinity, we just get it. We know we're connected. We just understand this. So the minute the Americans lost, and I did my jumping on the couch Tom Cruise move, and was very excited. And instantly, I do this with every single sports thing, feel sorry for the losing team. So then I'm like, oh, I feel so sorry for Hellebuck, and I feel so, and the Stachuk brothers. I mean, yes, they were a little bit off for me, and I didn't love the fights, which everybody else did, but I didn't love the fights, and they were a little aggressive, but oh boy, they had motivation, and they were really excited, and they wanted to be there for their country, you know, and they were, I think, both born in Winnipeg, and then I'm like, all of a sudden, because my needs were met, and I was happy with my win, I could see all of a sudden the divinity in them. I could see that they were the same as me, and they just wanted to win, and etc. Now I'd like to get to the place where my team doesn't have to win for me to feel that way about them. I'm getting close. I'm getting really close. But that's all the things that we do here, right? We take the classes, and we do the treatments, and we do our healing circles, and we stand up here on Sundays, and we talk our ideas, and yet we're not there yet. We're still in action. We're still learning. We're still practicing, right? I mean, even Buddha, who was enlightened, you know, suffered. Had, you know, felt the human experience, had loss, though loss was one of the things that in enlightenment is, you're not supposed to go through, but felt all the human things, cold, hot, illness, pain, right? So it doesn't matter how spiritually vibration that we reach, we always can go higher. So when I say in here, let's get that vibe up, right? We'll never get to the top of that vibrational system for any of us, but we'll get higher than we've ever been. And that is what we're trying to do. We're trying together, interconnectedly, every Sunday or in classes, to connect and raise each other up. The music connects us, raises us up. The dancing connects us, raising us up. And as Wes was talking about the volunteering, I mean, the volunteering really raises us up. It makes everything happen in this place. And that is interconnectedness, right? So, just moving on, so that's sort of an embracing the humanity of the situation. And one of the ways that we can get to this is mindfulness. So I was trying to be mindful coming up to the hockey game, and yet my emotions took over. And what is wonderful about mindfulness is it's not about just emptying out the mind. When you're really having a problem with someone, or you're really having a problem at work, or you're really having a problem loving a situation, it's not about just saying affirmations and things like, you know, their loving presence, you know, the Spirit of God, whatever you're going to say. That's not the point. The point is go empty. Just empty it out. Let it go. Try to go to no thought. Neutral is better than trying to either go too positive or stay in your negative state. And they've proven this scientifically, that actually if your happiness, people are usually more happy when they're in a neutral state of mind, which sounds funny. But think about just out gardening, or out doing an art piece, or out doing something where time disappears, some hobby you love, knitting, crocheting, whatever it is, dancing, that actually people are more happy in that state than they are if they're just focused on happy thoughts or staying in the negative realm, which is really interesting. But I think the reason being is when we're in that neutral state where our mind isn't busy trying to judge every situation or think about the future or think about the past, the mind is just engaged in this lovely little thing you're doing, and it creates space. And space allows the presence to be felt. Right? When our mind is full, when our emotions are at the top, there's no space for spirit, for you to hear it. It's always there, but you need to create the space for it to have room. So, I mean, you think about this room, and if you filled it up with all your thoughts and all your ideas and all your challenges, can you imagine just pushing a few of them out the side door to leave a space for something new to come in? So a lot of the time, when I'm working on an art project and I've lost time, all of a sudden something will pop into my head. And it'll be, oh, that's a really good idea. Excuse me. And that is because in my just staying in that neutral state, there was space. There was space for spirit. There was space for the presence, and I was able to hear it. So one of the meditations that we're trying in our class is a true meditation. And what it is about is it's not guided. It is just about listening to the mystery of presence. And that's the whole thing through the meditation. Listen to the mystery of presence. And that can mean anything. But if anything, it creates almost like a void. It creates this blank screen where things can still float across. But it is an expansion. And it is a lovely feeling. It's very difficult. For the first 5 minutes, your brain hates you. And it'll bring up every excuse in the world to move. This is uncomfortable. What the heck am I doing? I'm not doing this right. This was a really dumb idea by April, whatever. But once that 5 minutes, that 10 minutes, if you just keep your butt sitting there, it changes. Those thoughts start to quietly dissolve. They start to move away. And a lovely silence sets in, a lovely nothingness. And that sounds funny, but it's almost like you have to experience it to truly understand. And it's just sitting with the presence. And absolutely, thoughts will still go by. And things will still come up, the shopping list, where we're going to go for lunch after service, whatever it may be, those things will come into your mind. But the mindfulness makes you aware of it. And then when you come out of it, you become so much aware in the daytime how much those thoughts run away with us and how much they do and create noise in our lives that are not necessary. Also, this creates a situation where you can really hear another person. And isn't that what we're here for? If we're all divine and we're all wonderfully connected, isn't it your whole point to be able to sit down and be present for someone else, to actively listen, to not have your thoughts take you away, what you're going to say in response to them or whatever, but to just listen to what they're saying without feeling the need to give advice or tell them what to do. Just be there. And that is radical interconnection. That is the most radical thing. And don't we all want it? Is there anyone here that doesn't want to be seen or understood or felt like they're enough or loved? I mean, I don't know. Is there someone here? I've never met a person yet, right? I've never met a person yet that's what we're here for. We're here to experience those things. Now, we're so connected, even with everybody on Zoom, we're all so connected. And we should be doing this for each other. This should be what this place is. It should be the place where you walk in that door, kind of like Cheers, and everyone knows your name. And we're happy you're here, right? And this is special. A lot of people do not have this. Loneliness is an epidemic. It is killing more people than a lot of illnesses, right? So think of that person in your life that you know is maybe alone or doesn't have a lot of company, right? Make a phone call, send a text message at the very least, but reach out, say hi, just wanted you to know I was thinking of you today. Don't have to do anything more, not a thing more, just that. And the connectedness is there. You've reestablished that energy circuit. And when you do it, and every time you do it, you raise your vibration. absolutely you raise your vibration. Because in the giving out, it's going to come back. And we know that. That's the law of reciprocity. So, interconnectedness is like a transfusion for your life. To recognize that each and every person, even if they're an American hockey player, are part of this beautiful cycle and are important. And if they weren't there, life wouldn't be as exciting, wouldn't be as dramatic, whatever it may be, including the horse in the hospital. It's hard to connect, it may be, but the horse in the hospital is a being that as well deserves understanding, compassion. And if anybody didn't get who the horse in the hospital is, talk to me later.
It should be glued.
But at these times, especially when, the Buy Canadian thing is really big, a lot of protectionism is coming in, and I understand it, and, it is certainly, I'm always for shopping local. I think I'm the only one that's never bought anything on Amazon. But also think about it. Think about the intention. Is it to help or hurt when you're doing it? Because we're all connected. So we know if we're doing something out of the consciousness of hurting someone else, that is going to come back around. Right? So one country does something to hurt another and it comes back, we just end up with two countries hurting. Can we find a different way? Can we find radical connection? So, and what I'm saying is use consciousness when you go out and you're going to buy the Canadian. But do it from a sense of I want to help out the local people. I want to help out the people in my country. Don't do it if you have that sense of doing it just to hit somebody else or disrupt another country. Maybe try to go into that and go into the silence and mindfulness and ask yourself, if I believe we're all connected, why am I doing it? And it's hard. It's a tough thing, and that's why you're here, because you're edge walkers and you're totally up for this type of work, right? If it was supposed to be easy and never challenging, why bother showing up? So at the back, I put a list of calls to actions for 5 mindfulness training. And this is set up that it beautifully aligns with the Center of Spiritual Living's global vision of creating a world that works for everyone. By embracing these practices, you can lay the foundation for personal transformation while contributing collective healing and harmony. And for those online, I'm going to stick it on our website as well. So they're at the back, and one is Reverence for Life. And that, of course, is rooted in the understanding of oneness, that we're all connected. 2, true happiness, recognizing the boundless nature of abundance. And what I find so interesting is this is really similar to what Shona had brought up earlier. 3 is true love, grounded in love and respect. 4 is loving speech and deep listening. And 5 is nourishment and healing, honoring my body, mind, and spirit. So these are all just ideas of how you can practice these things to keep us in radical connection, to understand our interconnectedness as we move into next month's theme. And I think this is so wonderful that this is coming up just before our AGM at the end of March. Is we realize that we count on each other in order to keep this place going, to keep this teaching alive in this city, and we really need people to step up and say, this is the year that I'm going to give to the center. This is the year I'm going to give to my fellow members. This is the year that I'm going to love this place so thoroughly that it's going to rise to my vibrational level. And together, I think we'll do an amazing thing. I also want to point out, we have these stickers that were donated, which is lovely. So we're selling them for $1 each. And if you want to kind of wonder what to do with them, I could never find my phone. So I stuck, because it's all black, so I stuck one of the stickers on, and now I can find my phone. So I call it sort of like a phone tile, because I can find it anywhere. Or, you know, you can stick it on your fridge or your car window or whatever. But they're quite nice. They say positive, loving future, a world that works for everyone. So on closing, I just want you to, as I did, challenge an idea, a perspective, a judgment of somebody else, a holding on to this is the way it has to be. When we let go of that, when we open up our hand and say, okay, you know, maybe that's not the way it has to be. Maybe things will change here, and that's okay, and I'm willing to go along and see what it looks like. The letting go of how we feel, the control, is going to change everything. Because it's going to allow other voices to come up, and it's going to allow for space in you to create new ideas. So, when you run into that relative that's driving you a little crazy, and you let it go, right? When you have a perspective on how you think service should go, let it go. If you have a judgment on how you think your boss should be running the office, let it go. If you have a judgment on how you think your kids should be conducting their lives, let it go. And you will find freedom, not only within yourself, but you will be giving freedom to all of those people. Because we feel the judgment of others, right? Don't we? We feel that energy. We know when things are being said that are a little passive-aggressive or a little judgmental, whatever, and it feels horrible. It feels awful. We know it. But instead of trying to fight that thought and send love, just go mindful. Just take a few breaths in quietness. You don't have to change the thought right away, but do become aware of that place in you with presence is always there and will always whisper what you need to do. And most of the time, it will be saying, let it go. Thank you.